Tonight, the reason Apple is recognizing WSU.
And the best events to check out this Devs Weekend.
Murrow News 8 starts now.
From the Northwest Public Broadcasting Studios on the campus of Washington State University, this is Murrow News 8.
Good evening, I'm Sean O'Connor.
And I'm Yolanda Lee. Welcome to Murrow News 8.
The missing teen from Lewiston has been found. The Lewiston Police Department says 16-year-old Katarina Torgerson has been found safely. Torgerson has been missing since October 29th. She was last seen on her way to school. The last contact with Torgerson was on November 5th in Moscow. Police do not say where they located Torgerson, but thanks the public on their Facebook page for their help.
Hundreds of Whitman County ballots have still not been counted. The Moscow Pullman Daily News reports that even after the ballot counters worked 16-hour days, there were still about 450 ballots left to count as of last night. The Whitman County auditor says it's unclear or problematic ballots are causing the delay. For example, some voters bubbled in multiple options and then cast one out.
The Spokane Police Department has new restraints when it comes to suspects on the run. According to KHQ, the department will no longer pursue suspects evading police while driving unless a suspect is involved in a, quote, crime of violence. The crimes that will not be pursued include driving under the influence and speeding. According to the police, the general order, the reason for the new rule is to keep the public safe.
According to a new FBI report, Washington State has the fourth highest number of hate crimes in the nation. The state's hate crimes number did not change much from 2017 to 2018, going from 510 to 506. Only California, New York, and New Jersey have higher numbers. The report shows that out of every city in the state, Seattle has the most hate crimes, with 159 of the 291 hate crimes classified as race or ethnicity related.
The WSU Elson S. Floyd College of Medicine has earned recognition as an Apple Distinguished School for 2019 to 2022. According to WSU Insider, the designated is granted to schools of all grade levels that showcase innovative uses of technology in teaching and learning. The College of Medicine has armed each of its 200 medical students with an iPad, empowering them with technology and tools for use in the healthcare industry.
WSU entrepreneurs will have an opportunity to pitch their business ideas to real investors. On Wednesday, November 20th, select WSU students will pitch their ideas Shark Tank style to a panel on investors and seasoned entrepreneurs. The event will take place from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Allison's Foyer Culture Center and is open to the public.
The WSU Marching Band will celebrate the fight song's 100th anniversary by playing 4 arrangements of the classic tune at halftime of this weekend's game. The band will play the normal version of the piece along with a Dixieland and big band version before putting their instruments aside and singing the original score. The WSU fight song was published by 2 students in February of 1919, making its home debut on November 1st of the same year. It's Dad's Weekends. Logan Plant joins us live from outside Martin Stadium. What's going on this week, Logan?
Hey, well, thanks, Sean, and a happy Dad's Weekend to you and all the Cougs out there. Some of the festivities have already gotten underway here on Dad's Weekend 2019. You can see behind me here, tons of RVs have already filled the parking lot, both for Dad's Weekend and the other events happening this weekend. Some smaller events have already taken place today, like a wine tasting, a 2-on-2 basketball tournament where dads and their kids can take on teams of other dads and students, and a few other things. But the main event for tonight is the Big and Rich concert happening over at Beasley Coliseum at 7:30 in just a few minutes here. So people are looking forward to that country music concert tonight. And then tomorrow, the main events are the Pumpkin Drop at the Webster Science Building, which happens every year, followed by the main event of the entire weekend at Martin Stadium right here when WSU football takes on Stanford tomorrow at 1:30 in the afternoon. It's a pretty wet one out here right now. Hopefully that clears up for the rest of the weekend. Hope that you have a fantastic Dad's Weekend. Reporting live from Martin Stadium, I'm Logan Plant.
Thanks, Logan.
With winter just around the corner, it's time to throw away those pumpkins. Murrow News 8 reporter Zachary Miller tells us how you might be doing wrong.
They're orange, round, and put into a pie. Pumpkins have become a staple for the fall time every year. But now, the leaves have changed colors and are falling to the ground. It's time to start disposing of those pumpkins.
I had to throw away the little ones because they're rotting.
While rotten pumpkins don't pose a harmful threat, they're ugly to look at and smell overwhelming. One apartment complex in Pullman is doing something about it. The ruckus is telling all residents to throw away their pumpkins before next week. While throwing pumpkins away in the trash is the most common way to dispose of them, is it the best way?
I just throw them away. Yeah, they're not that special to me.
While many people are like Haley and just throw their pumpkins away, that may not be the best way to get it done. According to the U.S. Energy Department, when pumpkins are thrown into landfills, they generate greenhouse gas emissions. These gases essentially contribute to the breaking down of our ozone layer. So other ways to dispose of these pumpkins are to give them to local farmers. If the pumpkin is just soft and not rotten, it can be a great treat for farm animals. Another option is to compost the pumpkin. But a lot of people don't have access to these compost piles. So instead, you can bury the pumpkin in your yard. The pumpkins will decompose and help fertilize some of your lawn. With Christmas just around the corner, it might be time to get rid of those pumpkins. This is Zachary Miller from Murrow News 8.
With only 8 seconds left in the game, Thursday Night Football took a dramatic turn that has everybody talking.
Learn what the player did and what sessions are in store for him when Murrow News 8 returns.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Days, months,
Hey, I'm Jim from across the street.
years,
I'd like to give you this.
a lifetime can rush by without realizing what we're missing. We lose some of the best moments, some that may never repeat,
Come on.
or detach from people around us. Our loved ones grow used to this pattern, but it doesn't have to be that way. We have a choice to take action. It's never too late to live a full life again. Hear how many of us Vietnam veterans have managed our mental health and reconnected with our families. Visit maketheconnection.net to find out more.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
And welcome back. Tomorrow the Cougs take on Stanford here in Pullman for the Dad's Weekend game. Both WSU and Stanford are going into this weekend's game with a 4-5 record, hopefully making this a competitive matchup to watch. Assistant coach Rock Bellantoni spoke to the press Wednesday about tomorrow's competition.
three guys with over 35 catches. Tight end's a great weapon. Quarterbacks are good. Running backs are really good. So, we're trying to prepare for everything. We don't know how they're going to come out and try to attack us, but once we get in the flow of the game, we'll have an idea.
And news as of today, Stanford's starting quarterback KJ Costello is not going to be playing in tomorrow's game, so junior Davis Mills will take over for the Cardinal against the Cougs on Saturday. Malou Santos is over at the weather wall for this weekend's game day forecast. Malou, what is going to look like outside on Saturday?
Thanks, Gunnar. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy conditions with a high of 54 degrees, and which is about 10 degrees warmer than average. Kickoff at 1:30, and it should be about 50 degrees. 10% chance of rain in the second half, wind blowing at about 6 miles per hour, and it's more likely to sprinkle from 5 to 11 a.m. and again at 4 p.m. But again, that second chance of sprinkle is only slightly, so think about maybe bringing a poncho or an umbrella. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Baloo. And more with Wazoo sports. WSU volleyball will face number 13 Utah tonight at 6. WSU's 21-4 record should be stiff competition for the 18-7 rank Utah currently holds. The Cougs will then take on Colorado at 1 p.m. Sunday, and both games will be in Bowler Gym here in Pullman. And WSU cross country will host the NCAA Western Regional on Friday. The women's team has placed 10th in the past year and the Pac-12 Conference, and the men placed 10th in Western Regionals. Redshirt senior Josie Brown told the Daily Evergreen that they are hoping to finish with a top 10 spot in the regionals this year and improve their position. And in national news, a pretty big development in last night's game during Thursday Night Football. The Steelers and the Browns faced off in Cleveland with some strong clashes by both teams until a brawl broke out between the two teams in this play here. So Browns defensive end Myles Garrett and Steelers QB Mason Rudolph got into a fight after Garrett takes Rudolph to the ground and does not let him go. Both of them trying to take the other's helmet off. Garrett finally takes off Rudolph's helmet and bats him across the head. After that, the team pretty much just goes after one another, defending their teammates. Garrett has since been suspended from the league and most likely for the rest of his career. Garrett has released a statement this morning apologizing for his actions, and the Browns won 21-7. And lastly, Carmelo Anthony will sign a non-guaranteed deal with Portland Trail Blazers. Anthony has been out of the league for about a year now, but sources told ESPN in an article on their website that Anthony would fill a void in Portland's offense that they're looking for. Anthony is said to join the Blazers' 6-game road trip that starts tomorrow.
The new addition that WSU students are recommending for their syllabi.
And a transportation service that helps students who may need it most. Stick around.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
So, I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that! That's disgusting! Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
It's time to check in with Malou at the weather wall. Malou, will we need to bring an umbrella as we head out for Dad's weekend?
Here's a weather recap. It'll be rain, some sun, rain, rain, sun. Today, 90% chance of rain with a high of 51, which is about 7 degrees warmer than the average because the average around this time of year is 44 degrees. The low today will be 35 degrees. Again, that's warmer than the average for this time of the year because the low on average is about 31 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy in the morning, 10% chance of rain from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. And the models that I've been looking at says there's about a 0% chance of rain in the early afternoon, and then at 4 p.m. there's a slight chance of rain. So tomorrow during the second half of the football game is probably the best time for you to ask your dad for a poncho. Yes, there is a place for you to buy stuff there. And let's see. Tomorrow, yep. And then let's take a look at the state map all over the place, the west side of the state. Seattle gets rain. Oh, and I wanted to tell you that there is a website called Best Places, and it looked at America's 50 largest cities and determined that the Emerald City is the most gloomiest city in the nation. I think it's probably named the most gloomiest city in the nation because that's where UW is. Let's see, central part of the state, rain there too, highs in the 50 for both Yakima and Tri-Cities. Eastern part of the state looks the same, rain, highs in the 50. And taking a look at the 5-day, if you're a sun enthusiast, tomorrow partly cloudy in the morning, then sun in the afternoon, then rain Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and guess what? The sun is back on Wednesday, woohoo, with a high of 46 and a low of 44, again, warmer than the average for this time of the year. Back to you at the desk.
Student leaders at WSU are urging professors to add Lawrence Promise to their syllabi. Lawrence Promise resolution includes hotlines, information about advocates, and information about counseling services on campus. The resolution was written in honor of Pullman High School graduate Lauren McCluskey, who was murdered by a romantic partner.
The steep uphill walks to campus can pose challenges for any students, especially when the winter months bring ice and snow. But what about students with disabilities? Murrow News 8 reporter Celeste Harms shares an on-campus service that is providing those students with the help they may need most.
It's no secret that WSU's campus is perched on top of a hill. It's the cause of jokes among students like those nicely developed cougar calves. But for Rebecca Ronzone, the steep trek to campus presents a real problem.
My foot rolled and I broke my fibula. Walking around going up and down hills is very challenging.
WSU Transportation Services aids Rebecca and countless others through the Cougar Accessible Transportation Services, otherwise known as CATS. It's a small program that offers transportation on campus to students with permanent and temporary mobility disabilities and conditions.
Torn ACLs, broken ankles, sprains, just things that make it really hard to get around on campus. Student athletes to people in wheelchairs, we help them all.
Eric Stockton, the program coordinator, says CATS provides well over 2,000 rides each academic year. The upcoming winter months get especially busy.
So anytime it starts to get slick, we usually see an increase in ridership.
Frosty weather has already posed a problem this school year. Last month, Pullman Police Department warned locals on Twitter of the freezing temperatures and slick roadways.
Now at best, hills like this one leading off of Greek Row, or this one by the hillside residence halls,
or this hill on the south side of campus may leave students out of breath. But for students with mobility disabilities, the challenges they face are much harder. And if you can imagine this hill behind me, coated in snow and ice in the winter months, and then imagine trying to get across it in a wheelchair or on crutches or in a boot, you can get a glimpse of the struggles these students would face without the transportation service available to them.
I have morning classes, and so if I didn't have transportation services when it's been pretty cold the past few weeks, it's been pretty icy and the scooter has no traction, so I could have probably re-injured myself if I tried.
To qualify for these services, students need a doctor's note or to register with the Access Center. They should also submit their schedules online to the service, and they need to wait about 2 days to process before they can start using these services. You can take an eco-friendly bus from Spokane to Seattle starting next week for as low as $9.99 one way. The company says its buses meet a high level of efficiency in terms of fuel consumption and greenhouse gas emissions. The bus is called FlixBus and a similar trip on a Greyhound bus would cost $64. Which billionaire is looking to buy the Seattle Seahawks?
And what kind of apps are being removed from the Apple App Store? That and more when Murrow News 8 returns.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
WSU's Graduate School has named Tammy Berry as its new Associate Dean. Berry is a professor in the Department of Psychology and now serves as the director of the Clinical Psychology Doctoral Program. According to WSU Insider, Berry's new responsibilities will include working with the Provost's office and overseeing the grad school's program assessment and review.
Remember Blockbuster and Hollywood Video? Well, there's a store just like that still surviving over in Moscow. Logan Plan went to Moscow to see what keeps this store around.
15 years ago, they were everywhere. Now, they're an endangered species. In downtown Moscow, you'll find one of the last dedicated video rental stores in the country, the Main Street Video Co-op.
I think what customers like about the store is that it still exists. Like, it's kind of a novelty to have a video rental store in the year 2019, you know.
Enter the store and go back to a time before streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus dominated the conversation, when it was as simple as stepping inside, asking for a recommendation, and heading home with something new to try.
I know the convenience of streaming services, but I have a lot of nostalgia for going to video rental stores as a kid and actually having somebody there to talk to and give you recommendations, point you in the right directions. More often than not, people come up to me and they're like, "Hey, I like this movie," and I'm like, "Oh, well, you might like this movie," you know. That happens basically every single day.
The Moscow Video Co-op and its library of 30,000 titles survive, thanks to a lot of support from the community, from families to movie buffs to people in surrounding towns that don't have consistent internet support.
And there's a lot of people who live in more rural areas of town and they don't have internet streaming services capabilities, so they have to come in here and check out a movie.
O'Rourke says he was told there are only about 100 video rental stores left in the country. He believes this nostalgic experience is still unique and worthwhile in 2019, and as long as the community continues to support it, this endangered species won't go extinct anytime soon. With videographer Jimmy Silk, I'm Logan Plant, with Murrow News 8.
The Washington Post reports that Amazon chief executive Jeff Bezos may want to buy the Seattle Seahawks. Someone close to the Seattle-based Amazon boss says Bezos showed interest in the franchise. The Seahawks are not officially for sale, so it's unclear if Bezos will join the ranks of NFL ownership. Forbes says the Seattle Seahawks are valued at around $2.8 billion.
A Bellingham family says they plan to sue Bellingham Public Schools. KREM reports that Wacom Middle School tried to move 6th grader Lucas Goodwin, who has autism, and his desk into a bathroom. The school reportedly put the desk next to the toilet and shoved a chair next to the sink. The Goodwin family says this has been heartbreaking and traumatizing for Lucas.
Apple announced today that they are removing 181 vaping-related apps from their App Store. Apple says in a statement that the move comes after the CDC connected a number of lung injuries and fatalities to e-cigarettes and vaping products. The company made a similar move in June, banning the promotion of vaping products in the App Store.
Up next, drama in D.C.
We'll have the latest on the President Trump impeachment hearings when Murrow News 8 returns.
Days, months,
Hey, I'm Jim from across the street.
years,
I'd like to give you this.
a lifetime can rush by without realizing what we're missing. But it doesn't have to be that way. We have a choice to take action. Visit maketheconnection.net to find out more.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
The President Trump impeachment hearings continue with the testimony of former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch. She was on the call with President Trump in July with the President of Ukraine. She notes President Trump saying that she was, quote, bad news and, quote, going through some things. Yovanovitch took these comments as threats from the President. The hearing will continue next Tuesday with 4 new witnesses.
Ironic flood in Venice. CNN reports that just moments after Veneto Regional Council rejected measures on climate change, the council was flooded for the first time in its history. This week is the worst flooding Venice has seen in the last 50 years. The reject measure would have given almost €1 billion to fight against air pollution.
Too early for Christmas? CNN reports that a Texas family was told to remove their Christmas decorations because it's too early to start celebrating the holiday. The Simonis family says they received a letter from the Homeowners Association demanding they take down their decorations after putting them up on November 1st. The family says they didn't know there was a rule to say when they could begin decorating for the holidays. Thank you for watching tonight. Be sure to watch our newscast at nwpb.org/MurrowNews8. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
Good night.